Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Producer Rachel Show. And I am here with one of my favorite people in the whole world, Frankie, aka Frances George-McCullough. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How about yourself?
I'm good. So, you own a business called Muscle Care Inc. And the newest addition to the business is the red light bed,
Yes.
which has been incredible for me personally. Can you tell us about the red light bed a little bit? I want people to know more about it.
So red light is probably the latest and greatest over the last 25 years. And now it's just becoming pretty much, it's finally getting out there. But it is the most natural way to rebuild your mitochondria. And the mitochondria is the energy source. It's also the youth source of your body. And it actually, as it builds, as you uh, grow it in your body from the red light, what happens is you get more energy, you feel more youthful. It has so many secondary effects. It actually shrinks your skin. It actually is great for weight loss because it is reducing the inflammation. It's amazing as a natural anti-inflammatory. And everybody in healthcare, everybody in everything we do, we have to do it daily. We go to sleep, we wake up, that's a daily experience. You drink water, that's a daily experience. You care for your health by what you eat, that's a daily experience. You exercise, you use red light. For us, we recommend at least for, uh, you know, 12 to 24 visits that you use it twice a week minimum. You can use it more than twice a week, but up to 24 visits, and then you might maintain it just once a week, like a workout routine. It's very complementary to working out because what it does is if you work out, and a lot of people that are into working out, lifting weights or aerobic, you get a little achy, and this actually reduces that inflammation that you built up, or it helps reduce the lactic acid buildup so that you feel more movable and healthier. It's amazing for so
So,
many things.
I love that it's a full bed. It's above you and below you, so you literally get full coverage. I've seen the little red light face masks, but this is a full body bed, and I absolutely love it. I didn't come for any of those issues. I came for seasonal affective disorder. When the winter comes, I get very depressed, and so the red light bed really sort of helped me with that issue. And then all the other side effects, which was the weight loss and the skin tightening, I was just like, wow, bonus, because how amazing is this? And it really, really, I don't know if it was just a matter of getting out of the house and meditating in the bed, because for that 15 minutes, no phones, right? No distractions. You are literally just there with your breath. And I felt like taking that time and that space, a lot of us don't do that. And that really helped me. The red light bed really helped me sort of take that time, take that space, and give myself healing, right? I think a lot of us are so used to living in pain, we don't understand what it feels like to feel good anymore.
I have found that you are accurate, and we don't understand what it means to be good to ourselves or even to care for ourselves because, especially as adults, children don't even fathom that. They look to us to help us care for them, even teenagers. Uh, Caring for ourselves means taking care of my needs, my discomforts, my mental stuff. And everyone that has pain has a mental component to it, has an emotional component. Not only is it good for seasonal affective disorder, it's also good for depression. It's also good for anxiety. We feel our nerves just, shaking. And most people with anxiety, in my experience, are having some kind of fear reaction, fight or flight, and it calms that nervous system. What's really amazing about it, it's just light. It's red light, near red light, and far red light. And the it's also vitamin D, by the way. Getting in this bed is vitamin D. The difference between this bed, which is we are right now the only one that has this particular bed in Michigan, is that it's not a tanning style bed. It's very easy to get in and out of. If you're claustrophobic, it's open. You're not closed in. You have the ability to raise it up further away from you or bring it back. So the backside of your body is lying upon this bed. It's pretty amazing, really. But it does so much. And in this world where we, the human being, more and more are turning away from the medicine and getting more into the body's ability to heal itself, this red light therapy is pretty awesome for that. Most people will experience something in the first visit. We measure you because that measurement is where you see, oh, my body shrunk. And when you shrink, it's interesting. So a cell, you have trillions of cells in your body. And as you get older, you start to lose not the very middle, that's called the nucleus. All the stuff around it, you start to lose it. And fat is in the cell, but it's also outside the cell. So when you shrink this fat is easier to get out of your body. You can lose weight just by using the bed. You'll lose more weight by even just reducing 100 calories a day from your diet, or try to reduce the sugar. But any minor change will affect the weight loss experience. People that are using all of these drugs, and I get it. I want to be skinny. There's a new drug. I get it. You got to trust yourself. I don't know enough about it to tell you if it's good or bad, but you lose weight so fast that you become flabby. So complementary to this red light bed, because it is also keeping you healthier than you would be if you just use these semiglutides, because it's building the mitochondria, reducing the inflammation. And let's be clear, weight loss in itself can and does reduce inflammation. We as a human race are looking for better ways to stay healthy. Let's be clear, every day we have stuff. Every day you wake up. I meditate every day. I do the best I can to surrender to what is, but it pops back in my mind. What else we have is we have this amazing grounding mat. So you know me, Rachel, I talk a lot about mind chatter. I'm repeating this language in my head and I can't get it out and I'm stuck in a loop. And people say to me, how do I get rid of that? Well, you don't. Mind chatter's there. It's the language in which you tell yourself. We have this amazing grounding mat. All you do is lay on it. It relieves pain, but interestingly enough, it calms your mind within the first 5 minutes. And you forget that you had the mind chatter until you get up. We often go in and talk to people. We have implemented what is called the superhuman protocol. And the superhuman protocol is breath work. We use oxygen. We use cans of oxygen for you to inhale. It involves the grounding mat and it involves the red light therapy. It is pretty awesome because everyone so far that has used this combination has said, oh my gosh, I wasn't feeling this great. And then the next time they come in, they go, oh, that was such a great experience. It's only 1 hour of your time and it's pretty amazing. I always say, don't trust us, have the experience. Some people don't want to use the oxygen, so we take them through breath work without the oxygen. Either way, changing the way you take in air, because every day we just do this breath, but just a simple holding that breath, exhaling. That's something that supplies your cells with oxygen. And we get oxygen from our cells through osmosis, which means just through the air. We have billions of pores. These pores, believe it or not, bring in stuff, they take out stuff. So if you think you're in an environment, you just had your lawn sprayed, you're outside and you're thinking, well, I won't get any of that because I have clothes on and I'm going to walk away like this. Your pores have already gotten them. They're taking it in, right? And there are so many things we can do, but to care for ourselves, to protect ourselves from dis-ease without having to consume a drug that's going to have a side effect. It's pretty amazing for the human being. And children
Well,
10 and
there's
older use this bed.
Well, there's something that I want to touch on, which is the negative mind chatter. Um, and then the breathing. So let's talk about the breathing first. I think you were one of the first people to really explain to me, like, Rachel, you're not breathing. Like, take a breath, right? I've lived in fight or flight my whole life. I always feel like I'm on the defensive, or I did, until you and I started working together. And really changing that negative mind chatter, it didn't take as long as I thought it was going to take. Um, I mean, it was 48 years, or at the time, I think when we started working together, like 44 years of programming or negative programming that I was so used to. And then when Frankie would be like, you change them and change the negative mind chatter, I'd be like, what do you mean? Like, just think about more positive things. And it's like, yeah, it's actually really that simple. Can you explain to people how to sort of flip it a little bit?
Yes. So, as you know, I coach, and I coach people because let's say you broke up with a guy or you just lost your job and you go to, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? How am I going to handle this? I'm not sure that I can handle this. I'm so used to having this person and I'm so sad. What's wrong with me? Why did they walk out of my life? Or, why did I give them up? Because you start to see the good in them. That loop is the loop we go to. And when you go through coaching, we hear you, we listen to you, we allow you to have that thought pattern, which that thought pattern presents a feeling. It's not the other way around. It's not a feeling that presents a thought pattern. It's the thought pattern that presents a feeling. And so we allow you to have that feeling. And then we ask you some questions like, okay, you lost your job. Have you been calling on a new job? Well, kind of, yeah, I really don't like my job. Well, then you called on this because you wanted something different. And this is the presentation for you to leave this job behind. Take a good deep breath and be excited about what you're calling on. All you need is clarity. Well, just that mind thought is like, oh, well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. I'll hang up the phone with you, and 10 minutes later, you may need to call me back again because that mind chatter came back. And then we'll do that maybe 8 or 10 times the first day. The second time, it'll only be 6 times. The third day, it'll only be 4 times because now you're learning to jump in. Listen, any behavior requires repetition. Any behavior. And everything we do, we decide our personality is our behavior. But you can change that behavior with the help of people. That's what we're here for. Again, I'll say this to you, and all the time I say it, we need each other. We do. And my mother was right. The best person that you need is a stranger because they don't have all that judgment or all that, comparison upon you, right? And I choose to do my best to not compare. But of course, I'm going to go there. I'm human. Right? So the mind chatter is, how do I get out of that loop? What language? I need someone to care enough about me to pull me from that because I cannot see clearly enough to go, how do I process this? So I stand in spirituality and I believe in source energy, God, universe, whatever you want to call it. And there are many, many sacred books that give you a lot of information. And this information was from this dude, Jesus Christ, who I think is really pretty awesome. And he makes something so simple and so clear. And that is ask, believe, and know. Ask, believe, and know. People go, God, please give this to me. Oh, God, I really want this. Nah, God is saying, you know what? Thank you, God. I'm excited for my business to thrive so well that I take 4 vacations a year, a month at a time, and have so much money. And I love it. And I love giving back. It's that clarity. But we have the clarity of, oh, I'm so sad. This is terrible. I don't like this. Oh my God. Or even seasonal affective disorder. Man, this is taking me down. I feel all this heaviness. How do you change that mind chatter? As you know, the mind chatter alone isn't necessarily enough. It's also distraction. Let's go work out. Let me keep my mind busy so I don't have all the time to think about this stuff. Come use the red light. Come have a treatment with me. Talk to your coach. Every single human being deserves a lot of moments where they feel, I'm happy. Distraction is a good way, but distraction on something you enjoy. That's why we look at people through history and say, there's a sense of depression because we can't get you out of bed. And when you're in that bed, you only have the time to think about all the stuff that is not good in your life. You can't get out of that loop until we can get you moving. Let's take you for a walk. And we need each other. Someone that loves you, that wants to take you, that insists, nope, you can't stay here. Let's get up. Let's walk. That battle of, no, I'm going to stay here. You can't get me out. That's love for someone that's willing to go, okay, I'm going to hang out with you. Even if the distraction is 10 minutes, it's 10 minutes out of that time that you spent all this time in bed. And today, with the onset of social media and a telephone to give you all these distractions, the problem is we walk in that distraction place of more suffering. And if you understand living, the Buddha will tell you in the Four Noble Truths that suffering is a human condition. It's almost like we came here to suffer, but not really. We came here to love. And people don't understand detach. They think, well, I don't want to give up my furniture. I don't want to detach from this money. I love you. I don't want to detach from you. That's not the detachment. The detachment is having this thing called faith, that there is a power greater than you that lives inside of you that makes up everything in this world, that you go, okay, I can't do this. I don't know what the hell to do. I don't know how to handle it. Say, you take it. You take it, whatever you are. I got to give this baby to you. Now, if it goes away for a minute, that's spectacular. So you have to keep repeating that. Okay, it's coming back. Take it. I can't do this. Take it away from me. And eventually you will let it go for quite a while. So these young children that the parents keep them so busy, is there a blessing there? Yes. Is it too much? It could be. I don't know. I'm not here to judge. These teenagers that want to do all these things, I like that better than you hanging on in your bed all day long. Me personally, right? That loop that happens can become so heavy that we choose to distract ourselves or hurt ourselves, drink, do drugs, right? Or be a nasty, mean person, which you are not. And then you feel shitty about yourself because of all those things. Is a no-win situation. And what a person in themselves to get themselves out of this loop is very difficult. It's a very difficult thing. That's why we have these programs for alcoholism and drugs. That's why we have therapists. That's why we have moms and dads. But let's be clear. A stranger is always the best because you feel better really unloading the truth about that. By the way, every single human being has shit. Every single one. There is not one of us that doesn't have something. So,
well, talk to me about coaching, because you do offer those services as well. I want people to understand everything that they get when they come to Muscle Care Inc. Because it's not just the red light bed. You do FNMAT, right? And your goal is to get people out of pain physically and mentally. So you also offer life coaching. Now, with life coaching, are you still offering the monthly packages where literally they get your phone number and they can call you if they need someone to talk you off the ledge? Or are you not doing those anymore?
No, 100%. That is very effective.
Okay.
And the reason it's effective is because you're getting caught in that loop. Okay. And what has happened? We have several. Everybody's so different. They'll buy into the package and they'll say, you know, I didn't feel good about calling you. I'm a little ashamed of myself, you know, so I'll reach out to them and say, hey, how you doing? What's going on with you? And they cannot bring up those feelings. So I'll reach out to them and I will help them understand the mind chatter. You know, are you giving your mind negative stuff? Yes. They don't want to tell me what it is because shame, those 7 deadly sins are nasty. envy, greed, gluttony, sloth, shame, lust, anger, all of those things, and blame. Oh my gosh, phew. We tend to find ourselves at fault for everything instead of going, this is what I did. Can't blame anybody. I participated in this. You weren't alone. Even if you were in your bedroom having a feeling, something came before that feeling, a thought, an action, a TV show, something you saw on social media. Coaching is about helping you get out of your brain, but it's not necessarily about you talking to me about your stuff. It's about somebody helping pull you from it, someone that you trust, someone that you feel safe with. And in that sense of safety, because I do many things here, we treat pain patterns. FNMAT stands for Functional Neuromuscular Activation Therapy. What we do is we treat the cause of the problem. 99% of the people get results in the first visit that lasts. The treatment is a little uncomfortable because we're treating areas of your body you didn't know you had pain. Emotional releases happen in those experiences. I'm also very intuitive. If you want me to give you the intuition, the intuitive stuff that's coming up, sometimes it's talking to dead people, sometimes it's just the energy coming off of you that you can't speak out yourself. We'll talk about the intuition. A lot of time it's about what's happening in your life. That career, that mate, that illness, illness, everything in your life is an inside job, but how do I release it so it doesn't cause a dis-ease or disease? How do I do that? Or how do I overcome a dis-ease, a mental dis-ease, a physical dis-ease, an emotional dis-ease, and a spiritual dis-ease? How can I overcome that? Well, they're all treatable and they're all healable, every single one of them. But just like going to a doctor, if you don't know the route, you must trust the person or yourself in the people you choose. Trust yourself in the people you choose, not just because you like them, but because something inside you says, yeah, that resonates with me. We must get to that place where we trust ourselves more.
I want you to dig a little deeper into that because I don't think people understand when they ignore the emotional, right? When they ignore the uncomfortable. The universe, God, source, whatever you want to call it, starts with like a little nudge, right? You get that little thing of like, hey, you should probably deal with this. And then you're going to get a little push and then you're going to get a shove and it turns into physical pain in some way if you're not dealing with the mental. And so I think that's sort of what you're trying to explain to people is if you ignore it, you're going to end up coming to me for physical pain. But I'm going to let you know there's probably something mental going on as well. Explain to people when you pair your services because you are intuitive and the work that you do is magical. There are things that you will hit on that it may be uncomfortable for me to hear in the moment, but I need to hear it, right? And I work through that and I work through it with you. I think so let's talk about that first. Basically, it will manifest physically in some way. Like I've ended up in the hospital numerous times because I haven't dealt with the emotional issues that I should have faced a little sooner and waited a little bit too long because I thought, tomorrow. And I've straight up ended up in the hospital because I've avoided the little voice in my head saying, hey, you should probably deal with this. Talk to people about how emotional pain manifests physically.
Look, I'm human too. I get physical pain. Okay. I had, last year I had a grade 1 uterine cancer, right? And what was I dealing with emotionally? Let's talk about that. I was dealing with my children. And so I'm an older mom. I have a 21-year-old and an 18-year-old today. And last year at that time, they were a year younger. And I was dealing with, shoot, I'm worried about this. And geez, how do I get out of that? And every day I was surrendering. Okay, so why uterine? Because that's at the sacral and root chakra. The root chakra is where creation happens. It's not where you created it. Okay, it's at the lower end where you bring a baby into the world. That's the creation portion, right? The sacral chakra is where movement happens, right? at the sacrum. You're moving things, right? And so my uterus, because I couldn't move, I was stuck in this mental loop for quite a while, by the way, because I was finding fault with myself as a mom. Why did I do that to my kids? I let them get away too much. I didn't create enough boundaries. Maybe I should have this. I should have done that. Really, really awful stuff for myself. Okay. So I had some very minor bleeding. For me, I stay ahead of the game when I feel something. My biggest problem for me is I know something's wrong before the doctors can find it. So I went to my doctor, took care of this stuff. I don't have cancer of any kind. I got through it. I visualized every day. I did all this stuff, right? The emotional component of that, though, I had to deal with it. And I had to deal with the fact that this human condition of caring about our children and finding fault with ourselves as parents, okay, this is an everyday thing. Doing that isn't serving me or my children. It's not serving me. It's not serving them. It's not serving me because I can't see clearly. I can't. That's when I started more and more to go, okay, God, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Don't have a clue. I even say to my kids, I go, listen, I know I love you, but I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm probably doing a lot of stuff that I shouldn't be doing. And I'm going to work on that, right? So I have to change my behavior, which I did. But then, of course, like most of us, I fell off, right? Only to catch myself again and get back into that behavior. Like working out, and then you stop for a while, and then you have to get back in. The human condition is consistent for all of us. This is what if we came into this world to have these inconsistencies and to have this contrariness about us, to have this pushback from each other. These things we have power over, and it comes from here. And so I've had experiences with people that call and goes, yeah, I called my girlfriend and she said he was such an and I should have never gone out with him. Well, when you're telling your friend that the guy she went out with is an you're telling your friend she's instead of saying, listen, take a look at it. How did he treat you? Did you get what you wanted from him? Maybe this was a good thing for you to learn not to do that. Do you know how not to do that? Because people don't know how not to do that. How do you not do that? That's why we have AA to help you not drink, right? So that's why we have coaches to help you. What is it that I can do in my physical and mental behavior to change this way? So with us here, we help you when you come in for body work. If you allow me, because I'm always going to ask you, all right, then we'll talk about the energy coming from you. We do wonderful meditation for you to reconnect with you and source energy. It's very cool. As you know, the red light will do that, right? The coaching.
I think that there's something about the coaching that really helped because when you're on the merry-go-round of thoughts, it just like you said, you need somebody to literally pull you out of that and just snap you out of it and then have a conversation. Because a lot of times we don't take a beat. We don't take that moment to breathe. And breath, as you said earlier, is so important. And you were the first person to really show me, like, you're not even breathing. Like everything was here all the time. And I wasn't even taking a full breath. I was always just like, if that makes sense. And so what you were able to do was literally lift me out of that and sort of say, just take a moment, right? Because a lot of time we just keep going. We go. Because if we stop, and I've said this before, if you really stop and think like, am I okay? And you know that answer is going to be no, you start pulling at that thread. And we're not always prepared to pull at that thread. And that's why you need somebody like a Frankie to sort of walk you through that process. Because when you start to see the other side of things, you're not going to want to go back to pain. You're not going to want to go back to suffering. And that may mean leaving the job. That may mean leaving the man or the woman or your partner. That may mean trying to do something different, right? And it's not always easy to face that because we think like, what am I going to do without the job? Where am I going to get money from, right? What am I going to do without the spouse or the partner? Who's going to love me? And it's somebody like Frankie that can sit with you and say like, Number one, snap out of it. I think you've literally slapped me across the face a few times. Um, and then number
Let's
two,
be
it's
clear,
like
gentle tap. It's not a slap.
she asks first.
Yeah.
Um, um, but you need somebody like a Frankie to sort of like pull you out of that situation and let you see it differently. I think for the longest time I lived in blame, but they set the fire, is what I would say, right? Like if you're going to set the fire, then you're going to watch it burn, you should know you set the fire. But I didn't have to react that way. And having Frankie empower me, literally when you would say to me, like, but did you have to react that way? Like, you're part of the problem because of the way you're reacting. I lived in blame for so long with certain situations that I've been in relationships. I mean, it's been my whole life with the fight or flight that it was finally, and it sucked when you said it at first because I was like, what do you mean I'm at fault too? Like, that doesn't make any sense. But we talked about it. We worked through it. We've talked about it again and again and again. And like finally, I mean, it's been about 4 years later, I've really understood what was my role in this, right? Because you've said that to me many times. What was your role in this? And then did I have to react that way? Because the one thing we do have the power over is how we react to a situation. Can you talk more about that?
Not only the power, but the way you think. So I would use that language that you use, the role you played in it, not blame. But that's where we go. We go to blame and shame, and we go, I did something wrong. And we don't look at the other person's behavior. Sometimes you happen to have been there when somebody attacked you and you were reacting to that attack, right? It was the role you played. You might have just been standing there. Sometimes people attack. I can't believe you did that. Why did you do that? Some people go dead. They're like, right? And you just happened to be there. That was the role you played in it. But you could have also played the role of reacting. I don't talk to me like that. You're stupid, blah, 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 right? And then we feel crappy about ourselves when we do that, by the way. Most people feel terrible about themselves for reacting. Yet we have been taught, don't let anybody harm you. If somebody hits you, hit them back, right? Bullying, like don't walk away, stand there and fight for it. But when you go brain dead and you don't know what to say to that bullying, but for 2 days later, you think, oh, I can't go say something now. Well, you can, but we just now are like, because that person might go, well, what are you talking about? Well, 2 days ago when you did this, blah, blah, blah. And I don't think that was very nice of you. And by the way, you're the one that's an ass. Well, we have not been trained that way. So the language we use in our head, the words, do we play a role in our lives? What comes to us and what comes from us? 100%. 100%. And the only power we have is how we think, and how we think will affect how we act as compared to react. And like everything I'm discussing, it takes repetition, like playing basketball. And that's what coaching does. Coaching is there. And let's be clear. Let me back up for a second. I am a coach. I had a business coach help me out once, and then I fell off. I fell off the coach. Then I jumped back in and, well, that's not serving me. Let me get back in because I was on a roll. I was doing good, right? And then I was like, I'm missing something here. I went back in. So I'm going to tell you that for the last 30 years, I have been a best kept secret because I don't talk about who you are. And a lot of people won't refer you because they don't want you to know you had a coach. Okay. Because they're shaming. I don't know why. Why are you ashamed?
Yeah, people shouldn't be ashamed. Honestly, I think you just help hold us accountable. Does that make sense? It really is someone just to check in with to make sure, okay, are we staying down here or are we working on getting up here with our energy? And I
Right.
really think that that's what a coach does. You don't do the work for me, you guide me.
That's the difference between therapy and coaching. For years, therapy is about, well, let's find out what's wrong and let's go back to your past. Oh, you're getting triggered from this and triggered from that. We go to the triggers as well. But I want to move you from where you're at today. I want to move you out to who you are instead of holding on to all that stuff from way back there. Is that stuff going to show up? 100%. But how do I move from it? How do I go, okay, look it. I got triggered. Oh my God, that person hates me. I got to go, well, wait a minute. Is that from the past? Yeah. Is that a true feeling? No. What just happened was this. How do I get out of that? That's where we coaches come in for that kind of stuff. So my experience has been, And because I'm also intuitive. When you get coaching with me, you also get that intuition, and I will help you inspire your own intuition. You see, everybody's as intuitive as me. I just happen to be a lot more aware of it. It just was there very clearly at a young age for me, right? And so the weirdness in me when I was a kid was I knew I just knew it, right? A lot of people actually know their own stuff, but they have never been allowed to trust that feeling. So they think that pain in their gut, there's people that have anxiety. I have this pain in my gut. Oh, my tummy hurts really bad. Anxiety shows up a lot in the stomach. That's information, people. But instead of looking at it, we're so afraid to look at it. How do I bring that forth? Now, oh, God, my stomach feels better. Don't have so much indigestion. Oh, it doesn't bother me so much, right? To think that the mind plays such a role in the gut and to understand this feeling in my gut. But no, I have gas. No, I'm constipated. Well, there's an emotion related to that, guys. And here's the fascinating thing. It's so simple. It's the simplicity that gets in our way. It's the simplicity. We arise in fear because we're in comparison of what we think other people or the human being is expected of us. Because this anxiety shows up in young children, 5, 6, 7 years old. It's not necessarily something that was taught to them. It's something they didn't know how to process. And I recently have learned about boundaries. Wow, that's a big one. Like boundaries meaning in my home, this can happen. Out of the home, it cannot. In my home, in our home, you pick up after yourself. You do that no matter where you're at. In your home, you use please and thank you. In your home, you clean up your bedroom. Well, I didn't have those boundaries for a long time because for me, my life experience was I didn't have anybody to give me those boundaries. I lost a sibling when I was 13. All of a sudden, I had no boundaries. And that was a pivotal time in my life that I forgot what happened before he died. And after he died, I had to figure out how to do this thing called life. So this coaching, there is not one person, including myself, that doesn't need coaching. And you've heard this before. A couple of things. If you teach it, you know it. If you're living it and doing it, you know it. And the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So as you start to change your behavior in one thing, you start to change your behavior in many things because you process everything that way.
Let's talk about the mind-gut connection because I think a lot of people we're talking about it more, right? Gut health is very important. But there's also this mind-gut connection and then mind-gut and heart connection. I'm working on the heart connection. I've got the mind-gut. We're on lock. I get it. But it's the heart I still have an issue with. I've had an issue probably my whole life with it, and we're working on that. So explain to me the importance of the mind-gut connection.
First of all, the first thing is we need to stay inside ourselves and not outside. Because the mind, so there's an actual chemical change that happens when you think. An actual chemical change. When you think, worried, confused, fear, a lot of times, most of the time, when somebody has depression and anxiety, it's more of a body feeling than it is a mental feeling. When we have sadness, we're clear, we're sad, right? And even seasonal affective disorder doesn't necessarily have a thought with it. It's just that I have a feeling. Well, there's a chemical change. That chemical change from the gut to the brain and the chemical change from the brain to the gut, meaning what I think turns into a chemical that drips into my belly, acid, and vice versa. Okay? When you release the acid, oh, there's more clarity, more oxygen, more so on. Oh, I feel so much better. Changing your mind chatter creates a chemical change in your brain that creates a chemical change in your body. Science has found that 99.9% of dis-ease is in the gut. And people think, oh, it's just eating. No, it's not. It's breathing, it's thinking, right? Now, the mind, the brain, we are not separate. Your spirit is not separate from your body. When you become human, your spirit is one with your body. We came in as spirits in a human body. When you get rid of this containment and you die, you just lose this containment, this boundary. This is a boundary, right? And But as a human being, you're a spiritual being doing this thing called life in a human body. So it's all one. It's not separate. Okay. So when you think you create a chemical change, you know your heart is involved, because I'm going to tell you what, when you have this stuff that drifts into your stomach, you're not enough. You're not worthy. You're not valuable. You're useless. You don't, even though you have a career, you make money, you're successful, right? You have a good relationship. For you, it's still what's not enough, because you are missing. The you of you is missing. And that's the brain, gut, heart connection. You see, this is me. I'm okay with me. I am completely messed up, girlfriend. I got all kinds of stuff going on in my life. And I'm a wonderful, loving, caring, selfish, egotistical, kind, bullying. I am all of those things. I'm a biatch, and I'm okay with me. And when I'm not, I do. I have to call on people. I've called on you. Rachel, I got stuck in the loop. Pull me out, right? I call on people because I matter. I matter. I matter in this world, and I'm not here alone. And I need you. I need you. And that's a painful thing. I remember the moment when I realized, my God, how do you do that? How do you need somebody? How do you be that vulnerable to say, I need you? And what does that mean to that person? Because all of us want to help. All of us want to help. Every single one of us. It's such a great feeling to be there for somebody. And every day we have stuff, right? Some of it's little. I love the little stuff, man. I'll stay in the little stuff all the time. But when it gets so big that I think it's giant, and then someone's there to help me, to make me realize this is big, you're in your own way. And the coaching helps you see you. Yay! I love that part. It helps you see you. It helps you see you, and you can get away from the comparison. What comparison is going to happen? I wish to God I was taller. This getting older and shrinking pissing me off. Okay.
I'm shrinking too. I lost an inch. I was
Right.
like, I lost an inch already? Oh my God, here we go.
Battling with food every day. We think because people are thin that they're not battling with food. I promise you, they're still having a battle. Okay. This battle, it may be part of the human condition. I don't know. But I do everything I can to be in the place. And when I'm not, I call on other people. I catch myself. I breathe. I go, Frank, stop the mind chatter. I distract myself. I do all of that. For me, caring with other people, notice that language, with other people, to help them get out of their own way helps me get out of my own way. Everything we do, Rachel, everything you do doesn't only help them, it really helps you. And what if all of us were just one, and we were just different compartments of all of that? And our greatest gift, which we all love to do, is make a difference in people's lives. You're making a difference in your own at the same time. At the same time. The world is going that way.
I think it took me a minute. I mean, I know it took me a minute, it took my whole life to realize that I am valuable, to understand self-love, right? Because people talk about it all the time, love yourself, self-love, and how important it is. I don't think I realized I didn't love myself. I don't think I realized I didn't value myself. Until actually more recently, where I was like, what, God, why am I feeling this way? Why is it hard for me to like market myself and talk about myself and talk about my services and how I can help? It was because I didn't value myself. So how could other people value what I have to offer? And so I'm working on that space right now. Like I said, I'm still having an issue with the heart, the heart connection, but I'm aware of it and I'm willing to do the work. And the work doesn't end, as you know, right? The goalposts move every time. So even as an entrepreneur, a business manager, a woman with families, we all have something that a goal we want to reach, but I also had to understand the goalposts will continue to move, that we're never just there. Does that make sense?
Yes. And you can, for a long time, be just there until you get thrown. And that's when you might reach out to your coach to come back in. Rachel, we think because we love our children and we're giving them a good life and we've got these NOS binders in place and we're blah, 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 that they're going to be fine. But they're still individual human beings. They still came into this world, even whether they came through us or to us, doesn't matter. They came as individuals, and the way they process things. I have 2 kids. I say to one, I love you. If the other one's standing there, I go, oh my God, I love you so much. And I look at the other one, I go, I love you too. They go, see, you love that one more than you love me. I mean, I love them differently than I love you because you're a different person. So as parents, we think, well, where did I go wrong? But they're still individual human beings. They're still individual human beings. And I believe as people that love, we want to see the role that we played in their behavior, but it's still them. We cannot fix them because they don't know that they need to be fixed. They only know they don't feel good. They only know something's off. I mean, we see them, oh, they're active and they're doing this and they're doing that. And the next thing you know, they've taken their life. They're like, what happened? Or they're so depressed that you know something's wrong, but you know, they're going to lie to you till they're blue in the face because they don't want you to know that they're doing this or that. Okay. Whatever it is there. And how do you stay awake to that? You can't. You need another person. You need someone that may have the skill or that experience. Sometimes just someone that had that experience. So what I'm trying to say to you is that as we grow older, either we came into this world as a happy person and can get there, or we came into this world in a confused experience. And, you know, it's going to take a while to get out of the confusion, but something happens to us that's traumatic. And that gives us this thought that, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. Because we then want to appease the other being instead of going, that was their experience. They're entitled to have it. I have to break away from the definition that because they did this terrible thing to me, that I'm bad, right? I have to break away from that definition. And that trigger will come back all the time in your life. Okay. But how do I now step away from that and go, okay, this is not that. This is not that. This is this moment where I saw somebody that I don't like and I'm going to run away from them instead of confront them. That's what this is. It's not that thing from 20 years ago. Okay. It's not that. We will always evolve. It's called being human. Being humans have errors. Being human is inconsistent. Being humans is contrary. It's controversial. Okay. That's why it's so free to not be, because you're still in the same energy space without a body. I'm talking about a dead person. Okay. We call them dead. They're not dead. Their body is gone, but they're not dead. Their energy is still here, loud and clear, as I'm being quite loud myself. But to care for you, for the human being, is a constant daily thing. And to find someone safe to talk to, because people have this thing to distract themselves by finding fault with other people. Oh yeah, I saw her and she told me this happened. Oh yeah, I did that. People are going to talk all the time. People go, why do people do it? They do that because whatever the reason, they're insecure or they're caring about somebody and the other person received it wrong. Oh yeah, I heard about that. It breaks my heart for them. Then they go and they tell somebody else, yeah, she said this and she said that. And I may have said that, but not in that tone. You see, that's a human condition. It's an ugly condition. And we do it. We came into this world. These people that raised us showed us a way because they thought it was the way. Religion has a tendency to do that. Religion has a tendency to go, you're bad, you're wrong. No, you shouldn't do this. Well, that's a heavy weight to put on somebody. If God, this source energy universe, created us in its image and its likeness, these things that are bad or wrong are our conscious telling us, no, that's not, I shouldn't hurt anybody. I shouldn't kill anybody. You know, these laws, commandments, they're a good way to do life. They are. But when we're defensive, when someone says to me, well, you're such a bitch because I don't know, I took their food the wrong way, and all I did was took their food the wrong way, right? Is that true? Or is it that they're having a bad experience and wanting to project it onto me? Wow, that's a lot of thinking to have to do to get to that point. So it takes a minute for you to go, okay, That person thought I was a bitch. That hurt my feelings. 100%. Am I a bitch? I have been. It's okay. Was I a bitch in that moment? To them, but not to me. A teacher says to my child, you're never going to amount to anything. Screw you. You apologize to my kid because that kid took that information and they absorbed it. A doctor says you're going to die in 3 months. We believe you. Quit telling us that stuff. Okay. Because now I have to go, nope, you're wrong. And it takes a minute to get that loop out of the brain. So the human condition takes that language, words, it sticks like glue, and now we have to break the glue apart. That's where coaching comes in. That's where intuitive work comes in. Is that true? I had a client that saw somebody else intuitively that told her something that she was totally shocked. I said, I'm not feeling that same energy. She saw another person that was intuitive. They said, I'm not feeling that same thing. Whoever this was that gave her that information, I would have approached it as well. There's some issues in your relationship. You have to look at the role you play in it, see what you can do. But everything is treatable. Everything is fixable. And sometimes fixing is walking away. But sometimes fixing is also the role you play in it. With my own husband, I can't yell at him. I would like to, trust me. But I want something back from him. And the best way for me to get it is to get angry, get out of the way, come back in when I'm calm, and say, honey, the other day when this happened, mind you, 2 days later, when this happened, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, babe, I love you so much. I didn't mean to do that. I know that. And I tell him, when you joke like that, it pisses me off. 30 years, he still jokes like that. I'm still going to get pissed off. Okay. So I have to back off and come back in. Now it only takes an hour. But before, it was like, wow, that sarcasm really just.
Well, what you're describing is learning to be the observer, right? Observing what's happening instead of immediately reacting. There's something so special, and you've taught me how to do this, to just observe, which is wow, okay, I'm feeling this way. I've got a tightness in my chest. Obviously, this is bothering me. And instead of letting it spiral, right, into something bigger and making it into something bigger than it really is, you sort of observe how your mind and your body is reacting. And does this feel good to me? No. Okay, what would feel better? Instead of just reacting and immediately fighting or fleeing, like I've done my whole life, is learn to be the observer. Things are happening for you, not to you. And I think learning to be the observer and not the reactor has taken a lot of time because I was a reactor, right? And that's one of the big things you taught me is like, no, you can just be in the moment and observe how you're feeling and use the tools. I think EFT tapping for me has really helped. Trying to get off the merry-go-round of negative thought has helped. Talk to me about the observer versus the reactor. Why is this so important?
So I'm just going to back up just a second, because in the observer, when you are the observer, you're also having a conversation with yourself saying, did that really happen? You're actually having like two people in your head, like the good wolf and the bad wolf, right?
The good wolf and the bad wolf.
Right.
Yeah.
And so there is in psychology, which I learned from a good friend of mine, something called the drama triangle. And it's literally a triangle. And there is the rescuer, someone that goes, oh no, it really wasn't that bad. They didn't do you. This is something you do to yourself and we do to other people and other people do to us. There is the victim. Oh my God, I can't believe they did that to me. How dare them? And then at the very top, let's see, there's the rescuer, the persecutor, and I forgot the other one. Anyways, in the very middle of that triangle is the observer. Okay. There's the rescuer. Oh, no, you're not that bad. There's the persecutor. Oh my God, you're a terrible person. There's the victim. Look at what they did to me. But to be in the middle of that is to watch it play out when it's happening to you or when you're doing it, because it's two ways. If you think somebody else is a bully, you've been a bully too, I promise you. Okay. It's just the way we are. It's the way we've been trained all through history and life. Can we train differently? Yes, but everyone's got to get on board, right? Anyways, so to be in the middle of that and go, look at this one's blaming me. What did I do? Am I really that bad and that wrong? No, I just happen to be there, right? And so to be in the middle, you can have this conversation with these things and go, okay, I'm going to play neutral with it, okay? And if this person comes and attacks me again, I'm going to be awake to it. So when they attack me, I'm not going to attack back. Because if I give them fuel that gives them more to play this drama triangle, instead I'm going to say, are you done now? And they're going to go, yeah. I'm going to go, thank you. And I'll either walk away or I'll go, okay, well, thank you for sharing. And is it really about me or is it about you? That pisses people off, right? So I choose to walk away. When my child comes to me and he's all angry, I'm just going to stand there and listen, and I'm going to walk away. How come you didn't say anything? Because I love you. He's like confused, right? So
well, some people want to fight too. Like
they
some
do,
people,
but
I think, are sparking the fight. And so it's amazing when you sort of like take that out of as an option where it's like, no, I'm going to sit with this for a little bit. Let me think about what I'm feeling. And I may or may not come back and talk to you about it.
Exactly.
Learning to walk away and to say, hey, I need a minute. That took me forever too, because I thought I had to just go like dig right in. And it put me in really awkward situations where I said things that I didn't necessarily mean, or it made me feel really bad. And learning to just be the observer and say, that's interesting. Let me think about that. I'll get back to you has been so empowering.
That feeling of good and bad, listen, anytime we engage with somebody and they're angry or we're angry, we're going to feel bad. We're going to feel bad about them being angry at us, and we're going to feel bad about our own behavior, even if the behavior is shutting up and standing there, because it takes a lot of energy to keep your mouth shut. Okay. Yep. It takes a lot of energy. And when you walk away, so to understand this good and bad feeling, I always say to people, if you can give yourself 24 hours before you say anything, go distract yourself, breathe. Breathing is huge because that breath helps the oxygen in your head and helps release the mind chatter. That's what I say to people is, listen, is it going to feel bad? Yeah. It doesn't feel good to do something nice to somebody. Yes. And then maybe later on, you're going to feel bad because you reach such a high level. Now you're going to come down to this level. You're going to go, well, I don't know if I like getting that high in that emotion. I'd much rather stay neutral with it. Right. Okay. Yeah, that was a very nice thing. And people are like, you should be thrilled. You know, I am thrilled. I promise I am. But I just don't want to go way up there. I want to stay down here and enjoy this level thrill as compared to going up there and then dropping down. And now I got nothing. Right. It's the human condition. It is. This is a human condition. And sometimes just communicating about that doesn't need a therapist, doesn't need go talk to a stranger on a park bench to unload it. So we've heard this for years in these sacred books that the spoken word is so valuable. And there is something. Imagine that you've just given yourself surgery by speaking the words out loud to someone. Sometimes just the air is good enough. But to
but you also know, be very careful about who you speak to, because there are those people that then like get you amped up, right? And get you like, they shouldn't talk to you that way, or this shouldn't happen this way.
Right.
And then it gets you from observer mode into like reaction mode again. Right. So you have to be really careful about who you speak to, about what, and what you tell them. Yes. That's why having a Frankie on your side is so much better than sometimes a friend who you think is a friend, but just likes the drama. So you have to get out of the drama triangle, because
I don't find any fault. There's no fault here. Nobody did anything wrong. These are your feelings. How do we get you out of your feelings? Is that person a bad person? No. Did they behave poorly? Probably. Did you behave poorly? Probably. That does not make you a bad person. Just makes a moment. Can you change those moments? Yes. But sometimes it takes repeating it. And then the moment gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And I no longer have to cuss, because now I'm like, I catch myself, right? I catch myself from doing that.
I love that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the good wolf and the bad wolf. You said it. I was thinking it in my head, and then you said it. So I was like, we got to go there. I don't think a lot of people understand. There's a good wolf on one shoulder, a bad wolf on the other. Which one are you going to feed? And realizing that giving into the negative thoughts and that negative thought process was feeding the bad wolf. So let's talk more about the good wolf and the bad wolf, and then also the energy around that, which the gut-mind connection has helped me hear the good voice way more than the bad voice. And I don't think people understand, like, okay, we're talking about hearing voices. Yes. Can we talk a little bit more about that?
We're also going to talk about frequency. So when you're really angry or really sad, you have all this energy and it's on top of you like a cloud. when you're happy, it's able to spread. Does that make sense? So we're going to use
Yes.
that language, happiness and sadness or anger. So in your brain, you have these thought patterns. We're going to call them the good wolf and the bad wolf. Oh, I'm terrible. Man, I can't believe what an awful person I am. I did this. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, man, how do I help my kid? It's terrible. Then there's that other side. It's like, you know what? It's not your story. It's their story. You know what? You're a good person. Your intentions are good. You're doing good to help them. You know what? Believe in source energy. Give it, try it. You got nothing to lose. Okay, listen, I can't carry this. I don't know what to do with it. I'm not sure how to handle it, but I want peace in this. So here, I'm going to give this to you. Here, let me take it from here. I'm going to hand this to you. You know what? And I love you. I love you so much. You're wonderful. But on this side, you go, oh man, it's worthless, man. I'm an idiot. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, right? We'll go left and right because that's what we're doing right now. It's not that. It's not left and right. It's a language in your head that's telling you you're a good person. You're not bad. You're solution oriented. You're going to find the problem. It's okay. Even that is heavy. Over here, though, is I'm worthless. I'm never going to amount to anything. This shuts you down. This is a shutdown. At least this one's open until you get to, you know what? It's not my story. It's not my story. I'm going to put it down. It's their story. I can observe them. I can watch them, but it's not my story. I got to put that down, right? They want to try and blame me. Oh, you're a terrible person. That's not true. It's not true. I'm not a terrible person. No, I'm not. You know what? You're not a terrible person. You're a wonderful person. That mind chatter is the chatter that throws us off. That's people get stuck in this. Oh man, I'm terrible. I'm worthless. Man, look at what I did. Did I do that? Wow. Why do they still hate me so much? It's awful. It's a terrible thing. How do I pull to this good stuff? How do I pull over here and go, you know what? It's not my story. It's not my story. I got to call somebody because I'm so caught in this loop. I can't get over here to the good wolf. I need to have somebody help me. Oh yeah. Can you see that wolf now? Yeah, look how happy and wonderful he is. He actually has a smile on his face. I like this good wolf. So the good wolf and the bad wolf happens to everyone. A priest, a yoga master, Buddha. It happens to everyone. It happens to everyone that is human. It is a human condition. The goal is to get over here to the good wolf. The goal is to get over here to source energy and go, you know what? I was made perfect. I was made in pure love. We don't understand what pure love is. It isn't contrary. It doesn't have fault or comparison. Pure love is living in the moment, because when you live in the moment, you have neither the good wolf or the bad wolf. You just have this moment's experience. And that's why we need each other. That's why physical pain needs some source of getting rid of it. That's why the mind chatter or life, experiencing life, you know, gosh, am I ever going to succeed? I'm working so hard. I'm not giving my kids enough time. Whoa, your kids are getting enough time. They're happy. You're feeding them. Your husband is there. You feel the need to give them more time. Do it. Don't just think about it. Go, you know, I'm going to actually make it happen. Yeah, I can put the studying down for a minute and go give him some more time. I'm going to take some time off work. You know what? I deserve that. I can do that. That mind communication of the good wolf and the bad wolf is going to happen your whole life. Find that spot. Come back to the good wolf. Most people need somebody else to help them get back to the good wolf, at least at first, until they get the hang of it. But I have gotten myself in a loop for hours and went, whoa, I got to call somebody. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I try to reach out to somebody. Here's what I do. When I get myself in a loop, okay, right now my loop is I'm worried about my children. I surrender it, can't seem to get out of it. I keep calling people until somebody answers. That's the person that gets me out of that. And like you said, it's not right or wrong. It's what they say. I know that I'm calling people that are going to listen to me and support me and have no need to communicate about the other person. It's my loop in my head. It's not that they're bad or they're wrong or that I made bad choices. I make great choices no matter what choice it is. It's how am I processing that choice?
So I
that's what
wanted
coaching
to.
does.
So I want people to figure out how to contact you. So you do have a brick and mortar. So for the FNMET and the bodywork and the red light health bed, that is a brick and mortar, and that's based in where? Bloomfield Hills, correct?
Bloomfield Hills at Maple and Telegraph area. 4120 Maple Road, Suite 107, Bloomfield Hills. My phone
But the
number,
coaching,
I like
go
to
ahead.
talk direct, but people like coming in for coaching too. Some people like being one on one. I'm okay with that.
Mm.
Okay. Coaching, I'll talk to you for any reason. If you want to learn about what is FNMAT, how you're going to get me out of pain, if you want to talk about coaching, if you want to talk about meditation, if you want to talk about the red light, if you want to talk about grounding mat, everything we do here, we'll talk to you. Energy work is fabulous. We don't realize, like I was just talking to you about the chakras. How do I set those free? How does another person help me? Because we all have these skills. Everybody has them. Some of us learn about them. So this energy work, everything. So call me direct at 248-935-6000. 935-6000. I like talking to you. You may have to text me. You can text me on that line. When I'm free, I promise you within 48 hours, I'll call you back. 90% of the time, I'm calling you back within an hour. So just know that, because communication, I want you to understand what's going on. I love it. I love being there for people. And I love it when people are there for me. Do you understand that? Some people only like to give. Some people only like to take. Let's do them all. I'm
Well,
gift.
with the
What?
coaching, you don't have to even do the coaching physically there. So if you're somebody
No,
who lives somewhere else in this country or in the world, you have clients all over the world.
all over the
So
world.
you can coach them over the phone. You can do
Intuitive
Zoom
work
if
as well.
needed,
Yep.
but they don't have to physically be at your brick and mortar location to do the coaching.
No.
So if Frankie has spoken to you in some way, if there's some work that you want to do with Frankie, yes, the physical body work she can do physically at the brick and mortar, but she can do a lot also by phone because energetically you exchange energy. Um, and Reiki, I mean, you do a ton of different things. It's absolutely amazing. And the intuitive work, always add the intuitive work because trust me, you want to hear what Frankie is getting. It's always such a cool experience. And sometimes it's uncomfortable. Sometimes it's maybe something we don't want to hear at the time. But that's why you're there to walk us through that uncomfortableness. And that's what I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely love about you. Give your phone number again, and then what's the website?
It's 248-935-6000. The website is musclecareinc.com. That's musclecareinc.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you so much, Frankie. You're amazing as always. I love
Thank
it.
you.
I could talk to you for hours. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.